David Kimowitz was a pillar of the New York City comedy scene. He was the co-owner of the Stand Comedy Club located in Union Square, which has hosted some of the best comedians in the world, and he's also helped comedians build their careers behind the scenes to a great extent. Unfortunately for the world of comedy, he was the victim of a horrific murder in 2019 that happened unexpectedly. This sent a ripple throughout the world of comedy that is still being felt today because David was so much more than just the co-owner of a great comedy club. In today's video, we will be documenting the brutal murder of David Kimowitz, all the details of how the situation unfolded, how comedians responded to this tragedy, and some of the work behind the scenes David did to help give opportunities to both established and up-and-coming comedians. So if that sounds interesting to you, then let's hop right into it. To begin with, we will discuss the details of David's murder with some reverence. David owned a house in Maplewood, which is a town located in northern New Jersey. He lived in this house with his wife and 2 kids. Additionally, working at his house was a 26-year-old nanny named Karen Bermudez Rodriguez. Karen had been working for David's family for about a year, and somewhere along the way she met 27-year-old Joseph Porter, whom she had been dating for some time. Then the day of the murder was August 3rd, 2019, and it was looking like just a normal day in New Jersey. According to the New York Post, the weekend that the double murder took place, David's wife and daughters were out of town spending time in Jersey Shore. Apparently the relationship between Karen and Joseph had gone south, with Karen attempting to break up with Joseph through text messages. Joseph was not handling the news of the breakup well, which led to him plotting the murder of his ex-girlfriend. The New York Post detailed witnesses in David's neighborhood who had pointed out some very suspicious behavior leading up to it. Kathy Cantwell, David's next-door neighbor, reported seeing Joseph Porter sitting in his Toyota Corolla all day on Friday, the day before the murders took place, and apparently he exited his car a couple of times just to pace up and down the street. According to another neighbor, the same day he was seen in his car, he was also seen standing in the woods later that night stalking his ex-girlfriend who had thrown a house party for other nannies working in the neighborhood. Then on Saturday morning, all hell broke loose. Joseph Porter would enter David's home in the morning before 6 a.m. using a key that Karen had given him. He had a knife and immediately stabbed David to death. Then he chased Karen outside the house before stabbing her to death as well. As if this scene wasn't grim enough, neighbors gave horrifying accounts of what they heard during the murders, and it paints a troubling picture. Kathy Cantwell reported hearing repeated blood-curdling screams coming from Karen and how she kept saying, "Oh my God," over and over again, while another neighbor recounted someone saying no repeatedly, followed by a deafening silence. What's more, a 20-year-old jogger recounted running by the house and seeing the nanny in critical condition before calling the police. She would be pronounced dead upon arrival at the hospital, and then later on David Kimowitz's body would be discovered in the house as well. Joseph Porter would then be brought into custody on charges of double murder, weapons charges, and criminal restraint. Upon the news of David's death, the New York City comedy community would be absolutely devastated at this loss. Comedian Rich Voss would respond to the murder and say, quote, "This is such shocking news. A great guy and friend has passed this weekend. Just talked with him last week and Friday night. He seems so happy. A wife, 2 kids, his new club opened, and now this horrific news. David Kimowitz, you will be missed. Rest in peace." End quote. Rich Voss worked very closely with David in the New York City comedy circuit, but David also represented him as a manager for a brief period during his career. I mentioned earlier that David was so much more than just the co-owner of the Stand. This is because he actively worked with comedians on getting them TV shows, producing specials, and also helping them get booked at clubs and late-night shows across the country. According to the Comics Comic website, in the 2000s, David helped produce the pilot of a show called Misery Loves Comedy, which was about the brutal life of New York City comedians, featuring Robert Kelly, Patrice O'Neal, Rich Voss, Colin Quinn, and Bonnie McFarlane. The show was deemed too dark to air, but I share this just to emphasize how much David cared about helping comedians get opportunities, and not just safe, squeaky clean comedians, but also hardened, old-school, honest club comics. He also helped Michael Cox book stand-up comedians on The Tonight Show with Jimmy Fallon. Michael had really kind words to say about David. He said, quote, "Our comedy family lost a special one yesterday. David Kimowitz was someone who would want to know how my babies and family were doing first, business second, and was always there for advice and offered his support. Just last week, we were sitting, shouting over incredibly loud music at the Comedy Central party in Montreal, talking about our kids, and he was saying what I could expect after they turned 1, which was happening the next day. You will be dearly missed, Dave." End quote. Before I share more words from other comedians about David, I want to show you a few more of his credits of comedy shows he helped film and produce, such as Big Jay Oakerson's Comedy Central Hour, and many more things on top of that. We also heard comedian Steve Hofstetter talk about David saying, quote, "I have known David Kimowitz for 20 years. We were undergrads together in the joint program at Columbia, and it was fun when it turned out he went into the same business. Even sold him my old old club when I moved to LA. This is a horrible loss. Just horrible." End quote. Aside from his family, it would appear that the person who was most devastated by David's death was comedian Big Jay Oakerson. As mentioned earlier, Big Jay had help from David to produce a Comedy Central hour, and on top of that, he used to manage Jay early on in his career. Big Jay Oakerson wrote a tremendous paragraph that is very long about David, saying, quote, "For any of you who never had the pleasure of meeting Dave, I would love to tell you that he was the most fun, loving, positive, and caring people I've ever met. 8 years ago, we began working together, and with his guidance and help, we achieved so much together. David and his partners, Chris Italia, Paolo Italia, and Patrick Milligan started the Stand Comedy Club and hired Christine Evans to be the manager of the club. That club and the people affiliated became such a home and family for me in New York City. I spoke with him more than anyone about my life, my fears, my self-doubts, and Dave was always there to support and be a positive influence in what can be a very ugly business. Dave put together the audio demo for The Bonfire, which was the catalyst for Dan Soder and I to be able to do what we love. He helped me navigate and produce 2 specials, 3 albums, and our baby, What's Your Fucking Deal? He invited me into his personal life and was so much more than a manager. He was family. His brother and father have been my dentist for the last 7 years, helping me out so much when I was too broke to afford dental care. He was so important to me and my family every step of the way, and feel truly unstable in this world without him. On top of all the amazing things I can say about his friendship and guidance, far more impressively, he was a devoted husband and doting, loving father that we all would be so lucky to have. He valued his family and friendships more than anything, and the love that they felt for him shows that. I had to break this news to several people, and it was gut-wrenching. The only smile I can muster up right now is remembering that just a week ago, we spent 4 days in Montreal together at a comedy festival, attached at the hip, planning, laughing, and just really enjoying time together. I'll remember that week forever and be happy that I got to just appreciate being around him one last time. He is irreplaceable, and a giant void has been left in my heart, the world of comedy, and the world in general. Not enough people like him in the world. Pure goodness. I will do my best to honor him in everything I do moving forward. Please keep his amazing wife, 2 baby daughters, and his beautiful family in your thoughts and prayers during this time. My apologies for the long post and any repeated words or typos, but I finally felt it necessary to let the world know that we really lost one of the great guys this weekend. I love you, Dave. I'm glad I got to tell you and show you that a lot." End quote. I know that was a lot, but Big J really knew this guy in and out. He even goes deeper into the situation on this interview with Michael Malice.
Do you want to explain kind of what happened and how you found out?
Yeah, I found out, unfortunately, 20 minutes before I had to go on stage in Cincinnati, Ohio. But, yeah, it was like through like rumor mill. But Dave Kimowitz, who was my manager for 8 years and one of the owners of the Stand Comedy Club.
Who was it who called you, and what was your reaction?
Lewis.
Oh, Jesus. Okay.
Yeah, Lewis called me. And really, actually, what he did was he was like, "Hey, I don't know if this is true." He was like, "I just heard like a rumor of this, basically. There's something," and he just goes, "Something bad happened to Dave." And I'm like, "What?" I'm like, "No." And I just like, I actually took that as like, I'm like, "No, he's just like,"
yeah, stupid
he's
prank.
He's not answering. No.
Oh.
Like, I mean, he's just not answering his phone for somebody,
sure.
Is whatever the thing is like.
Calm down. Yeah.
And I text his brother, and no answer, like there. So I was like, real. So then I called Dave, like speakerphone, goes to voicemail like right away, not even ringing. So then I was like, let me call his brother. His brother answered the phone like, oddly enough, it was like, "Hey Jay." Didn't seem like it was even like I was almost happy to hear that because I go, "Hey, have you heard from Dave today at all?" And he was like, "No." Calm, but definitely not as jovial. He said they're like a pun family. Now he's not being quite as jovial, but he didn't seem like the worst news ever.
Right. Just said no.
He's like, "No." And I go, "How about yesterday?" And he kind of cuts me off, and he's like, "No." He goes, Dave got killed yesterday." And he kind of like half told me the story of what happened, and I was just like, holy shit. My girlfriend took it extremely hard. She worked with them for years. And so it was rough on her, as we both know the family very well. So it's just the craziest thing as far as that goes I've ever dealt with.
I think Jay's lovely words about David are the perfect way to close this video out. All in all, David Kimowitz was a huge part of the New York City comedy community, and he has and will continue to be missed. It's a horrible tragedy what happened to him, and I hope that you learned something from this video that covered all the information surrounding David's murder and how his death impacted the New York City comedy scene. The comedy universe is certainly a darker place in David's absence. Real quick, shout out to my friend Crossblocker for bringing this story to my attention. This video would not have been possible if he didn't reach out to me and generously give me this information. Anyway, if you did enjoy the video, make sure to leave me a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel down below. Also hype the video, and if you want to see more content, click the link on your screen right now to check out this video where I list the top 10 best comedians working today, in my opinion. Other than that, I hope you have a great rest of your day, and God bless.